LTTV, Blunt Talk with LT. We back, part 2. All right, so let's get back into this stream. Shout out to everybody watching the first part. If you haven't and you're new into this, watch the first part before you get into this so you ain't lost. All right, let's continue.
Other people come up, and so I've started, helping other people with their YouTube channels. Do you think like this is the best way to grow a channel? Like, why would you choose this way to launch your channel, to do such a polarizing way involving children? Why do you think that was a good way for all the young? We have a lot of young content creators in the chat who look up to both of you. Both of y'all are extremely strong YouTubers. Like, why is it this way involving children and kids? Why is it like this?
Once again, this is, you are relatively new to YouTube and you haven't seen the old content. This isn't a radical departure from my older content. The only thing that was different was I dropped ages, and I've never done that before. I've put out that type of content on YouTube for 10 years. So this isn't a radical departure from what I'm doing.
This is what happens when people lie. Earlier in the stream, if y'all caught it, he was talking about this was an experiment. You were doing this. This is not to connect with Anton. This isn't the normal stuff. This was something and then now this is not a departure from your regular stuff. You just didn't drop age. So you've been talking this R.Kelly type nonsense for a minute now, huh? I'm so confused. He's lied so much. I don't even know what, let's get back into it, y'all.
I just threw a little extra wrinkle in it.
Yeah, I guess I'm not asking. You're saying this isn't any change from what I've done in the past, and I'm not saying that it's not a change. I'm not talking about change at all. I'm talking about why do it like this? Why launch a channel involving polarizing issue with children?
I just chose that topic. I just chose it, and we will see. About 6 months from now, was it really a bad decision or was it a good decision? So we will see. And
how do you determine what's bad or good?
How the channel performs.
Is it so you only care about the numbers? You literally only care about the channel numbers, the money, whatever. The only thing that you determine whether it was bad or good. What about the impact? What about the fact you literally just gave a blueprint to predators? You gave the predator blueprint. Yo, if they got good parents, you want to stay away from them. All of this other stuff that you said, none of that matters.
That wasn't a predator blueprint. Because one of the things that I was doing, and like I said, we will see in the future, will this have.
Okay, so it wasn't a predator blueprint, and then you said one of the things you were about to explain, then you didn't. So let's get back into the video, and let's get a feel of what this video actually is, because it did sound like that the first time we were listening to it. So if this thing would load, we can get back into this video. Okay, there we go.
It was him. He was peeing on this girl. He was having sex with her. It was 100% him. And this is where R.Kelly went wrong. R.Kelly was a good-looking man. R.Kelly had fame. R.Kelly was rich, and he was reckless. See, he has that appetite. And I'm going to try to explain this appetite to you guys who don't have this appetite, because the normal man doesn't have this appetite. But there is something special about fucking a young girl who's doesn't have a lot of miles on her. She doesn't have a lot of experience. I remember this chick, she was 22, and she did not have a lot of sexual experience when we started messing around. And I pulled out my dick, and she was like, "You think that's gonna fit?" So I knew that this girl had not had a lot of sexual experience. And there is something special about fucking a chick who doesn't have a lot of sexual experience, because everything you do to her is fun. It's all brand new. And if you've got that type of appetite, it can be insatiable.
what you're saying, if it's a 22-year-old woman and she hasn't had those experience, what the? Okay, that didn't meant to be played. All right, so speaking seriously, if that was a 22-year-old woman and she had little to no experience and you got a sensation out of that, great, good job, nigger. But if it's a underage girl that you keep calling women, they're girls, they're teenagers, they're in high school. Stop the cap.
Like R.Kelly could have had the baddest adult chicks he wanted, but R.Kelly had that appetite, and this appetite could be the downfall of many, many men, because I'm not judging because I'm in a part of the kinky community.
Oh, so that's what we're calling.
But R. Kelly allowed his appetite to literally wreck his life, because once you get into orchestrating a trafficking syndicate, what does this mean? R. Kelly was having other people find and vet girls for him. And that's when it got out of control. This is the reason that I never got caught, because I never brought anyone else into my circus, so to speak. When I was doing it was just me and the girls.
No, we pausing it here.
Never ever brought anyone else in the circus.
Jesus Christ.
In this,
you never got caught.
Here's my problem. He's being portrayed as a predator, right? Here's the thing.
What is this guy talking about?
Remember when I started this video and I told you I had all these high school girls answering my Craigslist ads? Did I have a gun to their head?
Yo.
Did I ask them to reply to my ads? They were searching this out. So this is why I have a problem with the predator label, because they were willing participants in the dynamic. I can tell you, I remember this one girl who answered my ad, and she was 15 years old. 15 years old. We were talking and stuff, and I knew I was never going to meet this chick. I was just talk to her, and
Yo, I was being failed by this Windows Media Player. I was trying to stop this for a long time now to try to get back into this other video. Some of the stuff that this guy said was absolutely crazy. Because R. Kelly had other people getting the girls is why he got caught. And there's a reason why you didn't get caught, but you're acting like you're doing something wrong. But your choice of words always tells on yourself. You didn't get caught. You had an ad that solicited the attention of a 15-year-old girl, and you continued to speak to her. You started to speak to her and continued to. Before I had to cut off that clip, some of the things he is saying there, how do you defend that? How do you defend that? You come on the lead attorney's channel and you start capping about experiments and blah, 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 but then you say they're real experiences. He's lied so much throughout this stream. We're 25 minutes into covering this stream. It's an hour and 15 minutes. He's lied so much that I was lost in the lie. I'm trying to figure out where the hell he's going with it, but there's nothing consistent about anything he says.
A deep impact, and that's a good point that you made about impact, because Disruptive Male had a serious impact, and I want to duplicate that with this new channel, but I want to separate myself from the other content creators, because you think, once again, you think that's bad, and that's your opinion. I'm not going to have any truck with that. But once again, I have built, because Disruptive Male was doing really well, and then I started to get a lot of hate. And then I realized that I had built the channel incorrectly. And what I mean by that is, and this is something that both of you probably will find out if you don't already know it.
Sorry to cut it off there. I'll pull it back so you can get the whole thought in full when he gets it out. So pretty much what I'm getting from this is he wanted to get the worst type of people to subscribe, so whenever he puts something out, he's not cancelable, because people that agree with his type of predator mindset are not going to look at him with a moral high ground like, nigga, what you doing? This is foul. Everyone's just going to accept the behavior. I think that's where he's going at it with it, but let me finish this thought in full. Or let him finish
channel incorrectly. And what I mean by that is, and this is some that both a lot of hate. And then I realized that I had built the channel incorrectly. And what I mean by that is, and this is some that both of you probably will find out if you don't already know it. How you build your channel is how you draw your audience. And I had
Why
built
we
the
don't
channel
care about
wrong.
the channel? I'm talking about the information that you put out. Why would you tell somebody if they have good parents and stay away from them?
One of the chicks I was dealing with was what's it called, an emancipated teen. And she made her own decisions. What I was saying was, if you're dealing with someone who's still very childlike in the mind, you probably don't want to mess with them. Because, like, I don't know if you got what I sent you. And, if you didn't, I'm not going to worry about it. But one of the things that
I did get it. It was very long, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. A girl in high school sent me that. And one of the big things that happened in that video was the lack of assignment of culpability to people for making decisions. And once again, I know y'all going to disagree with me, and I'm going to say it anyway. All 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are not the same. There are some that are very childish, really still immature, and there are some who are damn near predators. And one of the things...
The children are predators?
What?
Yes, some of them are.
But you said that you wouldn't consider your behavior or R. Kelly's behavior predator behavior.
Well, if you look at the title of the video, I could have been a predator.
I looked at what you said. You said that you would not consider that predator behavior.
I'm talking. I could have been a predator, and I will give you I had girls in high school sending me dirty, explicit pictures, all this other stuff, and I would just delete them.
Let's talk about this for a second.
I could have easily been a predator if that was my orientation.
Let's talk about this for a second, because you mentioned that there was 15 in your first video. You mentioned that, and you changed it in the second video. So I'm going to get there. But in the first video, you said that there was a 15-year-old. You said, quote, "We were just talking and stuff. I just talked to her. She'd send me dirty pictures. She was running, 100 miles an hour." Right. Then in the second video, you said, well, because now I think we can all agree.
Okay, so what he's speaking about is where the video
crime. In Georgia, guys, that's actually
I'm having a lot of technical difficulties here, but what he's referring to is where the video froze. The first video we were watching, that's where it froze, but that's what he was talking about, talking to the 15-year-old. He didn't get to everything that the lead attorney is talking about, but I would like to try to pull that up if I can. I'm struggling right now, so we're just going to get back to this in the meanwhile.
Well, I actually never met her. I never chatted. I mean, we talked because I didn't know she was 15 until a little later, and that was one of the issues.
Yeah.
So
let me just jump in. What I'm telling you is, if you're talking and getting,
we got to pull this back for some context.
Never chat. I mean, we talked because I didn't.
No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's not happening right now. This guy bold-faced lied. We have the evidence. We have the video. We just played it earlier in the stream. Okay. I'm going to take a second right now because I have a lot of things open, including the call line for people to call in. So my computer is at capacity right now. So we're struggling out here, but we're going to get it back on track. We're going to get back everything that we need to just display the cap that's on display right now, because this is horrible. The man is just lying through his teeth. Fuck's sakes. I don't want to put this whole stream on hold, but fuck life. All right, we're gonna have to get back to the conversation. We're gonna watch the video at the end of this if we can make it through all the whole conversation.
I didn't know she was 15 until a little later, and that was one of the issues.
Yeah,
so
let me just jump in. What I'm telling you is, if you're talking and getting nudes from a 15-year-old, that is a crime in Georgia. That's the sexual exploitation of children.
Yes,
and
it is.
It's a felony grade crime, and it goes from 5 to 20, right? 5 years to 20 years.
And once I found out she was 15, I stopped talking to her and I deleted the pictures.
Gotcha. All right. But still, even if you don't know.
I know. A lot of men have gotten caught up because they were talking to a girl. They didn't know how old she was. and the law don't care. The law doesn't care.
Right.
And I was like, you're 15. She says, but I'll be 16, I think, in May. And I was like, that doesn't matter. You're 15 now. I can't keep talking to you. And I
wait. Now I'm confused, because you're saying, well, when you found out she was 15, then you deleted the pictures and you stopped talking to her. But you said in the second video that she actually wasn't 15. You said that she was 16 and you just lowered the number to make it more polarizing.
Well, I lowered the numbers of the girls and her mother, and
the lead attorney is picking this guy apart. Why would you lie so much on the internet and then come on the lead attorney's channel, who's a 20-year practicing attorney, and think you're going to get these terrible lies past him? We're going to pull that back just a little bit and continue this. We ain't going to keep doing this throughout the whole thing.
You said that she was 16 and you just lowered the number to make it more polarizing.
Well, I lowered the numbers of the girls and her mother, and not that one, because there was many. What? There were many girls, so not that one in particular. But this happened all of the time. I would be talking to a girl and I would find out how old she was, and I was like, okay. And it was a policy. I would just go ahead, block their email, delete their pictures, and keep it moving. This happened a lot.
So the 15-year-old
silence, you fool,
that you talked about in the first video, she actually was 15. But when you found out she was 15, then you stopped talking to her and deleted the videos?
Well, I didn't have videos, just pictures.
I'm sorry. You're exactly right. Deleted the pictures?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Anton?
I think it's nasty.
He thinks it's nasty. I'm so lost. I thought he just denied that and said it was a different case and it wasn't that one in particular. There's too much lies here. There's too much lies to keep up.
Nasty. It's so nasty, man. And I think maybe it's, the ironic thing that I'm trying to figure out, because I say this regularly. I say I need to be the man that I would want my daughter to marry, right? I'm a reflection of the thing that I would want my daughter to marry. And I've heard Glendon admittedly say that he has a daughter. And so I'm so confused, because TLA, one of the things that you said in this show was that, one of your blind spots or handicaps, so to speak, figuratively speaking, was that you don't have kids, right? So you don't understand what it means to truly love and be passionate about the sons are different. They rough and tumble. You want them to go through stuff or whatever, so on and so forth. I had a young man that I almost adopted. That was my nephew that lived with me. And I wanted to push him. I wanted to go through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But daughters out of your own, that's yours. And then you can sit here and justify the idea that you was sitting there in grave detail talking about it ain't nothing like going with a young girl and she's 17 and I did her about 15 times. And even after she told me she was 17, I kept doing it to her, but you was a lot more graphic and all of this stuff. You have a daughter, bro. That don't bother you? Like, even outside of the law, outside of what was, because slavery was once legal. They don't mean that it was right. We're talking about morals and ethics and character. That don't bother you, bro? Honestly, that you got a daughter?
My daughter and I have a very special relationship. And she kids me. She's like, hopefully you won't be dating someone my age. So my daughter knows who I am. She accepts that. And I accept her.
Fuck.
And she makes her own decisions. She tells me she's a virgin. I have no other proof, so I believe it. But once again, I am not one of those men who will push and press my impressions upon my offspring. Because from my experiments, from Craigslist, I know kids will do a lot of different things. A lot of different things.
That's exactly what our role is as a father, to push our impressions on our kids. We want them to be better versions of us. That's what we supposed to do. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is, all right, I have some friends right now. They have a 16-year-old daughter. They're good people. She is wild as hell. And it isn't because she doesn't have good parents. Ooh. It is because of who she is. And this is something that a lot of people cannot, it's like, well, she had bad parents. She could have had the best parents in the world, and she just turned out to be one of those kids. And there are many, many parents out there who have 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old children that they cannot control, they cannot instill, they can't put anything in them. And this is something a lot of people have a hard problem understanding, because everyone reaches an age where they understand what they're doing. And some people reach that age earlier. Some of these kids know exactly what they're doing. They're smoking, they're having sex.
But you just said it. You just said it, Glenn. You said they kids. Why would you, as a grown man, be interested in somebody whose brain isn't scientifically, and you know this for a fact, proven to be even developed until their 20s? Why would you take advantage of that as a man that not only is a grown man, you have power, you got resources, you got cars, you got all of this stuff that you know are enticing to children? You call them kids out of your own mouth. Why would you even consider that, bro? Why would you consider talking to a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old? Why would you be having conversations with somebody that looks like they're 15 years old?
First of all, now there was some of them who looked like they were 15, 10 years old. I didn't even talk to them.
Yo, this is absolutely awful. He's trying to have any type of justification for his predator behavior. And this is probably the best two people to actually speak to this guy, because this is outrageous. This is outrageous. Like, how do you make sense of this? Oh, fuck.
A lot of these girls did not look their age. They didn't look their age. And like what I sent the lead attorney, this came from
A lot of these girls did not look their age. My guy, that's not a valid argument. You should not be interested in children. To try to act like you're not a predator and try to act like you did this for a social experiment and try to talk your way around it in 10,000 different ways.
Stop the cap.
This is getting bad. Not getting bad. This is horrible. Like, just crawl under somewhere and just hide somewhere. Like, just delete your YouTube. Stop talking. No one wants to hear this shit. This is so bad. The Fed's going to come for him on something. They're going to pull up some file. Some girl's going to bring up. This is going to be bad. He thinks this is a joke. He thinks this internet shit is a joke. He thinks these clout games is a joke. Oh, this is going to blow over in a week. No, nigga, no. No.
16-year-old girl who looked like she was 20. All kids don't look the same. There are some kids who look like kids. They're 15. They're girls who are undeveloped.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
They are kids. We don't care. They're kids. Stay away from the kids.
But you're still describing them as kids, Glendon. You're calling them kids out of your own mouth.
In this conversation,
but then
I'm saying they're kids.
But then you had sex with them.
No, I did not have sex with any children.
Oh, so I'm sorry. At what age do you define a girl to not be a kid anymore?
That's a really interesting question, because there could be someone who could be 18 who could still be a kid, very much childish, very much immature. There could be someone who could be 16, like the one who was 17 that I was messing with. She had her own place, her own car, and a job. I did not know she was 17.
Ain't nobody got time.
Glendon, you literally advised guys to stay. You said you found a 17-year-old out of your own mouth, word for word. You started doing research on her on social media. You noticed in some pictures that her parents were around and that she had a strong family.
That was a different girl.
It's a different girl. And she had a strong family structure.
I didn't mess with that girl.
But you said that you knew she was 17 and you did research on her and you found out that she had a strong family structure because she was taking pictures with her parents. And that's one of the things that you decided that prompted you to leave her alone. That is predator. You're hunting. Yep. That is predator behavior, bro. That is literally the definition of
leaving her alone is a predator. I mean, I want you to
listen. But you only left her alone because she had a strong father and mother in the picture with her.
Dude, you don't know how predators operate, and that's a very strong word. Predators.
Why don't you
First of
talk
all,
to us a little bit? What's your definition of a predator? How do predators move? Because I will be honest, it does sound like when you're saying, "Hey guys, the ones that are close to their parents, those aren't the ones you want." When you say, "Oh well, I was doing research on this girl, or I was doing research on that girl," it does kind of, to do research on a girl, it does sound a little bit predatorish.
Okay, it's not a little bit, it's a lot of bit. Listen, y'all. We got to stop the fucking cap here. We call this nigga out what the fuck this is. You are a person actively scouting these young girls, seeing their relationships with their parents, teaching this to the people on your platform, being like, oh, you got to watch her parents, see her relationship structure with her parents, how close she is with her parents, how was her upbringing, blah, blah, blah. You're doing all this social media research, but you're not a predator, and you're preying on girls in a certain age range. The fuck out of here.
But you have been steadfast in saying that that's not a predator. Kind of, how do you define a predator, and how do you identify a predator's moves?
I will define a predator. I used to work at Scottish Rite, and I have seen some of those pictures you have seen of the forcible rape. I've seen that. We had this 8-year-old girl come in who was.
And this goes back to what he said earlier. R.Kelly didn't put a gun to their head. I didn't put their gun to their head. So if it's not forcible rape in your mind, I should have said grape. God damn it. Then you're not a predator.
Raped by her father. To me, that is predator behavior.
Let me pull that back a little bit.
I've seen that. We had this 8-year-old girl come in who was raped by her father. To me, that is predator behavior. Rape, they don't care. And also, we work with social work. Predators,
so if it's forcible.
No. Let me go with it.
Okay.
Forcible is actually worst case scenario. And when you hang out at schools, when you go to arcades, when you're looking for young girls, and this is the thing, I never did that. They came to me. That was
based off of an ad that you put out. You literally put the ad out. They didn't just see you walking down the street and you just turned them down. You took out an ad. What are you talking about?
I took out several ads.
That makes it greater. Jesus Christ.
Well,
all right. So
honestly, Glenn, man to man, just listen. Jesus. Do you don't see anything that don't make sense in this conversation?
What?
Honestly.
Well, nothing in this conversation is going to make sense to you because of the way that you think.
No, I'm asking you personally. I know what makes sense to me. I'm asking you, do you, like, when you go to sleep at night and you think about the video that you put out, or forget the video, the behavior that do you go to bed with a clear conscience, like, you know what, everything is on the up and up, everything is good. None of this bothers you at all whatsoever.
I will say the person that I was 20 years ago, no, it doesn't bother me at all. And there's more, and there will be more stuff on that channel. But one of the things is I was having these experiences, and it wasn't like that many. It wasn't like 20, 30. It wasn't that many.
You keep changing up
I
your
was
story,
in a different state of mind back then. And I was doing, as the elite attorney said, all kinds of shit. So I never forced anyone to do anything. I never took any advantage. I never lied to anyone. So yeah, my conscience is clear. I never forced myself on anyone, and I gave them options to leave, and they didn't leave. So no,
Glendon, you literally.
You know when they say that stupid people that don't know that they're stupid, people that have privilege are not aware of their privilege. Well, apparently predators are not aware that they're predators. Apparently, because he has no idea. This is news to him.
Wait, hold on. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about the second.
Lead, I need a break, bro. Honestly, I need a break, bro.
Let's talk about the second incident where you were talking about you were kind of propositioned to be a bull, right? Which is a huge thing in Atlanta. I don't know if you guys, of course, Glendon, but a lot of the people in the chat that don't know, if you're a black guy and you're 6 foot, you could absolutely be hunted in Atlanta, and some nice white woman, 44 years old, will come up to you and say, "Hey, do you want to come over and get in the hot tub?" And she's there with her husband, so you think it's all good.
What?
Go over to their house and see what happens. Right? It will.
Yes.
It will be.
There's
it will
a
be
whole
a mess.
community of that. There's a whole
Exactly. There's a whole community of poly in Atlanta. Whole community of swingers. Atlanta is for real, right? And so you talked about this one. And listen, it seems like between the consenting adults, there's no problem with it. Everybody go to town in Atlanta, fine. You mentioned this one incident where you were interacting with a mother who had a 16 and 17-year-old, and the mother was sending you photos of the 16 and 17-year-old, and so you went over there, so you went over there and basically, the mother pulled out your penis and started sucking it, and then had the daughters suck it. And, a lot of people were like, damn, because even though the 16 and the 17-year-old are over 15, right? It's still a crime. Both you and the mother are committing crimes in that instance, because the children are under 18, and they're not as harsh as the child exploitation crimes, but they're still children under the law. They're called minor children. And now you kind of clarified this and you changed it in the second video, but we're going to talk about that. But in the first video, when you were saying that you guys were all having sex in the same room, what hit me is, number one, the mother needs to be in jail, first of all. I can't imagine a mother taking your penis out of her mouth and then putting into her 16-year-old daughter's mouth. That's outrageous. And I've represented children who had some shitty mothers, and that is a shitty mother, number one. If she has sexual fantasies and pleasure, that's fine. She does not need to involve her kids. Number two, all the guys were like, where in the hell is the father? Right?
Yeah.
And I see so much where women are just given primary physical custody of these kids, and the fathers only get to see their kids every other weekend. And I'm, again, as Anton said, as Blind Guy, his wife, their life said, I'm not a father. But I cannot imagine if I fought to get 50-50 custody and that judge denied me and said, no, this is the mother. And then that mother has my 16-year-old and 17-year-old sucking random dick. Oh, I mean, as a non-father, I can't imagine it, right? But then you went on in that first video to talk about how the 16 and 17-year-old, they were virgins, and how the 16-year-old was saying that it hurt. Like, it hurt. And the mom was like, oh, we're going to open up that pussy. A crazy story.
The first thing I think of when I hear a story like that is,
if you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
You're taking what? I don't even want to reiterate what was just said, because you're fucking the mother and you're fucking her two daughters, one being 16, one being 17, and you're apparently taking their virginity with the mother's consent and their consent, and this is a real thing.
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
That's where like why you shouldn't confess to that. That sounds like a fake story in the first place, but really and truly, like, what the fuck?
Now, in the second video, to be fair, in the second video, you said, well, actually, they weren't 16 and 17, both of which are crimes, right? And not only for you, but also for the mom. But they were 18 and 19, which takes them out of the minor child category. So now it's all.
And if you keep changing the story, why are we even taking it into consideration that any of these stories may be like they're just all cap? Let's get back to it. I'm gonna break it down later. Let me have patience.
All game, right? But I want to ask you, as a man, because I typically review celebrities who make really risky decisions, sometimes bad decisions. To be a man of your stature and to have so much, to go to a random house where you don't know what the hell is going on. You don't know if anybody's waiting in the closet for you. You don't know if these white women are going to scream rape. How is it that that a man of your stature can participate in such risky behavior?
Well, first of all, that's not something I would do today. So I do
Okay.
get your point. I would
Okay.
not do that today. 20 years ago, it was a different time. Now that I think about it, nothing ever happened for me doing these escapades. Nothing ever happened. But thinking about it, it could have, because I did this. I would show up at their house and things went well for me, but they could have been bad. I feel like I have a guardian angel because I did a lot of stuff. Like 20 years ago, I was a different.
Okay, so you feel like you had a guardian angel, you got away with X, Y, and Z. So you understand subconsciously, if it's not conscious, if you're not aware of it when we actually broach the idea, you understand that you got away with some fuck shit. You understand that you were doing stuff that was not considered right. A lot of shit illegal as well. So I'm like,
different person than I am today. And like today, I have so much to lose. I would never do anything like that. I wouldn't. And you know, it's changed because.
But everything was good though.
You know, I'm not going to get into it on this show, but
that's what's so fucked up about it. You wouldn't do anything. You have so much to lose. You understand that you would have got caught up, but everything you were doing was good and not predator behavior. Two of those cannot be true. One of them has to be large cap.
There's a lot more that went down. Way more. And, you know, the folks who were watching the Disruptive Male know about some of these things. So I feel that as I got older, because there was some other stuff that happened that kind of changed my behavior. I didn't get in trouble or nothing. It's just, I will share this. And
were these negative things? Because it might help to share. Because
no, I want to share.
Okay, because we have a lot of 25-year-old, 27-year-old black men in the chat. Some of whom really follow you, and they're looking at me. They're looking at you. They're looking at Anton for guidance because a lot of these young men, you know, didn't grow up with fathers in the home. And so it's helpful to talk about some of the negative things that have helped shape the man that you say you are now, right? And not just give them all the crazy stories, but also some of the risks.
This is one, I'm going to bring it on the channel the other night, but one married woman I was messing with, her husband went to her phone, he got my address, and he showed up in my house with a gun. He wanted to shoot me. And I invited him in, and I poured him a drink, and we sit down and discuss his wife. Craziest thing that ever happened. And that didn't actually stop me. It just kind of, because, you know, he left. He didn't shoot me. But now looking back, I was like, that was crazy as hell. Like, once again, I was such a different person 20 years ago.
Were you on drugs back then, or how is it? Like, how old were you back then?
20 years ago, I was 34.
Jesus Christ.
Finally, the moment I've been waiting for. Some context to his stories behind him soliciting all the attention of these young women. So, not young women, girls, little girls, kids. These teenage girls that he was fucking with, 17-year-olds to 18-year-olds, all the stories he's talking about was 20 years ago. He was 34. But in his mind, in his mentality, he was not a predator. And people that do the same activities are not predators. You can't make this shit up.
I've never done a drug in my life. I don't even drink. It was just, you mentioned the swingers, and I was part of that lifestyle. And that's a very compelling, it sucks you in. And I actually had to take a year off where I just didn't have sex, didn't engage with anyone to calm down because I felt that I was getting out of control. So that's one of the things that happened. And this may sound really dark, but I had one of these chicks fall in love with me. And she got hurt really, really bad. And that's one of the things that got me to thinking about changing my ways. So
how old was she?
42.
How did she get hurt?
Same thing. Ads. I mean, guys, if I could just
This grown-ass man just said he wanted to stop what he was doing because he felt sorry that he hurt somebody, and the person he hurt was a 42-year-old woman. He didn't care about none of them kids. The man was focused and fixated on a 42-year-old woman. What the
man?
Actual fuck?
All right. I had every man's dream. To ability to, because I had some ads, like this is direct response marketing. I had ads that performed really well, and I weeded out the ads that didn't perform well. So I would run the ads every day. It took me about 15 minutes, and I would have 20 to 30 women respond to these ads every night. And then I would go through. It's like, no, I like her. I like her. And this was my life for 10 years. And it got very addictive. It got very self-indulgent.
That's every man's dream.
Every man except Anton Daniels. Yeah. I mean, like,
I don't think every man runs ads in order to be able to reach out and get women.
Facts.
Well, I would say I would agree with you that, because I know that you don't appreciate it, because when running ads to sell physical merchandise and running ads to get women, they're roughly the same. So it's a skill set. But every man's dream, most heterosexual men want to have a lot of unlimited sex with no restraints, no requirements. That's most men's dream. There are some men who meet a one woman, get married, have a beautiful relationship. That's a beautiful thing. But the average dude wants to have as much sex as possible. That much I'm sure of.
Glendon, can I ask you a question? I'm genuinely curious. Because it seems as though, looking at your videos and going through your very, very, very detailed sexual experiences with these teenagers, so to speak, right? It seems as though you base your moral compass as far as how young a girl should be, and you admittedly said that the only difference between you and R.Kelly is you didn't have other people going out to get the girls for you.
Yep,
that's word for word exactly what you said. The only difference between you and R.Kelly is that you didn't have girls going with him, and you said that you wasn't as big as R.Kelly. That's A, right? But B, you justify the behavior by saying that it's legal, or you felt that it was legal, or whatever, right?
Sometimes it wasn't even that.
Minimum age in which you can have sex with a girl is 16, right? Do you base your decisions as to who it is, because you said you like young girls, who it is that you want to have sex with based off of what the law says, and not necessarily based off of your own decisions as to how old or how young they should be?
All right. Once again, this video was an experiment. Let me say that again. And
all right, he needs to stop. This is where you get so disingenuous. This video was an experiment based on actual events. You can't say it's an experiment if it's real shit. You should have your own foundation, your own fundamentals, your own principles, and your own morals besides the law. It's like we're speaking two different languages.
The video was titled, "I Could Have Been Like R. Kelly. I Could Have Been a Predator." I mean, if I had true R. Kelly energy, there would be about 500 teenage girls fucked at the moment. And I didn't do it because I like girls with titties. I like ass. And a lot of these girls, they were young and they were undeveloped and they didn't appeal to me. So, and once again, because I worked at Scottish Rite, I know that a lot
What's Scottish Rite?
Scottish Rite is a children's hospital.
It's a hospital down here.
And we had social workers, and we would have children come in who were raped, molested, and all this other stuff. And pedophiles don't change behavior.
What the what?
They are who they are. And I never actually dove into like this one girl. She said she was 16, but she must have been like 10 years old. And I'm just like, why are you on here? Why are you emailing me? You should be playing with dolls and stuff. So I did not.
No fucking way, man. Why would you? I'm hoping he's just thinking about this in his mind. Why would you do this? And he didn't actually respond and have a conversation to a 10-year-old.
Base going on here? My acceptance on age. I based my acceptance on, was she hot? Did she look a certain way? And most of these high school girls were not hot. They didn't look a certain way. They had braces and all this other stuff.
Yo, predators do not understand that they're predators. Clearly, high school girls, you don't base it on age, you base it on looks. You're talking about high school girls. You're a grown-ass man. You should be looking for women only. You can't be basing it on looks and this and that. They're children.
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
So typically, I would say the medium age for the women that I engaged off Craigslist was about 28 to 32. That's where the bulk of them were. So I wasn't like hunting down children and, you know, it was funny. But in that video, it was an experiment, and we will see how it goes, because a lot of people got outraged. I have people leaving comments on all of my channels, and it's just wow.
You didn't answer the question, Glendon. I said, do you determine how young the girl is as far as what
I did answer your question. I said age has nothing to do with it. I don't go after girls who are young.
But you
wait, come on now. You just said that you don't go after girls who are young. But
I don't go after teenagers. Let's put it that way. I do like young women, 28 to about 35. Yes, I do. Guilty.
You literally described in detail how you love young girls. You word for word. I love young pussy.
Once again, that video was an experiment.
How perky 17-year-old girls' tits were. You described in detail.
Yes, I did. In the video, that was an experiment.
How awesome it was, and then when you found out her age and you found out she was still 17 and she wasn't 18 yet, you kept going. You admittedly said, I love young girls, word for word. That's what you said.
Explain that.
Was it a lie? Because if it is, then you told it.
And to be clear, you did say that the video was an experiment, but you also said in that experiment everything was true except for the ages that you changed. But you didn't say, you know, when I said I love young girls or I love young pussy or that whatever, you didn't say that.
I do like young women. You know?
Okay, chronic introvert. Predators know they're predators, LOL, or else they'll be holding hands, walking the street with them, PDA, etc. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, they're in denial. Like, they don't fully understand what they're doing, but they understand what they're doing. Like a girl that says, oh, yeah, I'm sexually liberated, but she's still trying to keep her body count down because she knows that she still doesn't want to be a... Okay, that's probably a bad analogy. Let's get back to it.
28 to 32. I am 54 years old. I do like them. I don't like teenagers because one of the things is you can't really talk to a teenager. You know, they don't have no life experience.
Here's the thing, because you described R.Kelly's appetite. And, you know, I thank you for this because you said in that video, you said the normal man does not have that appetite. I think that's something that a lot of women need to hear, right? We're not going to cast, you know, what's going on in the kink community to all men, right?
No. But what R.Kelly did, most men can't get with that.
Right. But what you did say is that you kind of have that appetite. And you said, and this is a quote, there is something special about fucking a young girl that doesn't have a lot of miles on her. Now, you know, and this is not a shot at any 28-year-olds. 28-year-olds in Atlanta got a lot of miles on them, right? That's not a shot. It's not a shot, but it's true. It's true. So let's be honest, Glendon. When
I will share some with you. Share some with you. I managed to meet 4 millionaires through these ads, and I managed to meet many women who were 20-something to 30-something that didn't have a lot of miles on them. Because, you know, it was crazy because I was like, you're 32 and you've only been with 3 men? You know, it is crazy. So during these exploits, if you will, I learned a whole bunch about women, and that's one of the reasons I feel that the male disruptive male channel was so popular and was so impactful. And once again, I deleted those channels, but I didn't put them up. But I never talked about this stuff. And once again, it's just an experiment. We will see how bad it goes because, like I think, part of it is it didn't go as big as I thought it would, which this is why you run experiments. And this is something I've done my whole YouTube career. I put out content just to see how people react. And once again, we will see because I also have my own platform, the disruptivemale.org. And there is none of this stuff on this training platform, none of this stuff. So this is the first time in 12 years I even talked about it, which if it was a habit or a pattern, I think it would have came out long before now.
Another contradiction, another one. He said this doesn't differ too much from the normal content that he has on his platform. Like this is hard to keep up with all the lies. It's very hard to keep up with all the lies.
Let me ask you, you said that this
12 years I even talked about it, which if it was a habit or a pattern, I think it would have came out long before now.
Let me ask you, you said that this experiment didn't go as well as planned. So what would you have changed in your first video to make it go as well as planned?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that because one of the things I'm going to do is not do content like that anymore. And I'm going to, because one of the things I learned is that when you tell a story, you got to tell the story the correct way. And I did a poor job of telling that story because I didn't talk about this was 20 years ago. I didn't talk about none of that stuff. So that's one of the things I learned. I probably will not repeat this experiment. There's just no point because it did what it did. And I will just try some other experiments. So I would not redo this when it makes no sense to redo it.
Glendon, you don't think that you being a platform, having a large voice and a platform and a content creator, that you need to be more responsible for how you affect other people, negative or positive?
I do feel overall that I have a very positive impact on people. And every now and then I will take a risk, and this was a risk. So overall, the majority of the content I put out is helpful, useful, and mundane. So this is one of the reasons that, much to a lot of people's irritation, that so many people rock with me, because I've literally helped thousands of people start businesses. And
but character without morals or principles, money doesn't make you a better person. It just makes you more of what you already are.
Yeah, money's an amplifier. I agree 100% with that. And once again, I've done crazier stuff than this. And this is what's wow. This is just the first one that hit like this. I've done crazier stuff than this. Not with little girls, but just business and videos and content.
So is it fair to say this is probably just the tip of the iceberg, though, Glendon? Like, for example, like you admitted to sleeping with the 17-year-old and all of this other type of stuff. I'm assuming that you've slept with more than just that one 17-year-old, right?
No, it is not the tip of the iceberg. Typically, those were, I would say, exceptions, because most of the high school girls were young and immature and they had no appeal to me. So
you see how he just dodged the question, though? He asked you specifically, have you fucked more than one of these 17-year-old girls? And he's like, well, this is not the tip of the iceberg, and continued to walk around the question.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Like I said, the majority of the women that I had these escapades were between 28 and 32.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that that was the only high school girl that you ever slept with, though, Glendon. I mean, if we're gonna keep it 100, then keep it 100.
We can keep it 100.
Like, we here now.
That actually, I think that is, because the two girls with the mother were in college. So
Glendon,
yeah.
you went into grave detail. You have a really good memory. You went through.
Well,
and
no,
detail.
no.
So
I
now
am
you're
a
trying to
great
say, "Oh, you know
storyteller.
what? I don't know." I think that is.
No, I'm a great storyteller. I'm a great storyteller because when you can tell a story that moves people the way that this did, and it wasn't true, I'm a great storyteller. And I need to get back to telling more
Now
stories.
it's not true.
Because
Wait,
you're 100%
wait.
convinced
Are
that
you? No. I'm honest. I want some clarity. I'm genuinely looking for clarity because I feel like I'm being bamboozled. Right? Are you telling me the 17-year-old is the only high school girl you've ever slept with in your entire life as an adult?
yes.
Stop the cap.
But once again, I'm a great storyteller because, first of all, a lot of the stuff in that was embellished a little bit. And what I did was marry some real experiences with some embellishment. And I'm just sitting here like, I realized that I could tell a totally fictitious story and it'd be believed.
You said everything in there was true, though, Glendon. You said everything that you said
It was true, but the ages were not true. Yes.
But the 17-year-old age was true.
Yes, I did not know.
And the 15-year-old age was true.
Jesus Christ.
The one I didn't mess with. The one that
you got pictures from. That was true.
Yeah. And once I found out she was 15, I deleted the pictures and I stopped talking.
Too late. You already told on yourself, buddy. You just snitched on yourself. That's another crime. Look at the lead's face. He knows it. He said it earlier in the stream, too. He's like, you dumbass. You filthy predator.
Tour. Look, I'm in Georgia. And I know that just talking to some of these girls could put me in jail. This I knew. And that's once I found out how old they was, I just stopped talking and deleted the pictures and removed them from my computer and kept it moving. There are many people who say I'm a pedophile, which is kind of interesting because if they knew the true definition of pedophile, pedophiles don't change. They don't date older women.
But you do identify with R.Kelly, and you said that the only difference between you and him was that he had people go out and get his girls for him.
Once again, that was part of the embellishment of the video.
But then you said that everything in that video was true except for the other girls' ages.
R.Kelly is beyond kinky. And I will say I have some of that energy because some of the things I participated in, I'm not going to get into it here, was just kind of wild. It was kind of wild. And R. Kelly was doing the wildest things. But I did not have this passion that R. Kelly had for young girls. I didn't have that.
So you saying that you was lying in the video?
I just told you I embellished. If you want to use lie, embellish. I lied about their ages. And I added more character and effect. And this is something else that you guys don't know about me. I used to be a writer. And I've written some crazy stories. So I'm going to get back to more storytelling.
Too much.
Listen, I guess, and you
know, before Lee gets to that, man, like we could deal with storytellings without all the fabrications. You lie so much that what is the truth and what is the lie? Where do we even start to try to break down things? Because that's what he's doing. He's just throwing more lies on top of more lies to hide the initial lies. Like, we understand what you first did. You were telling the truth, and it got a worse response than you thought. So you're trying to backpedal and reframe this. This is what I said earlier in the first stream, the first part of this. This man is just so full of shit. Like, you got caught. You admitted to some crimes that you weren't privy at the time were actual crimes and could come back to fuck you over. And now you're backpedaling. Stop the cap, man. Stop the goddamn cap.
You know, as a new content creator, or relatively new content creator, especially as compared to you guys, how is it that you can make videos where you say that you embellish and then you turn around and make another video and expect people to believe what you're saying in the next video?
Well, this is one of the things, because this is something I don't do all of the time. This is actually the first time I've done this. And
let me tell y'all something about YouTube. You can't get up on YouTube and lie through your teeth. Fabrications are not for YouTube. They will come back and haunt you. These videos are out there forever. Why do you think when Kwame Brown and Tommy Sotomayor are going at it, Tommy's just washing them and ethering them every time because Kwame lies through his teeth and it's all on footage and all you have to do is play it back?
One of the things that I've learned is, and you guys have learned this too, that people on YouTube have very short memories. You could do one thing one month and next month do something totally different. And most people will just go with it. So I don't do this often. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this, and we will see what the results are in 6 months. But
if you had it all over to do again, knowing how this turned out, would you run this same experiment?
Probably not.
So you already know.
Why
Probably
not?
not. Well, one of the things is, let me think about that. I consider the failed experiment. So knowing what I know now, I would not repeat this experiment. It didn't do what I wanted to do.
That's what I guess I'm asking though. Like, how would you change it to make it do what you wanted it to do? Would you make it more polarizing?
I would not do it all over again. I wouldn't make it polarizing. Because one of the things I learned when you run an experiment.
But not that you would do it again, just, hypothetically, for this video to do what you wanted it to do, what would you change? Not that you're going to do it again, but just hypothetically, what would you change in that first video to make it do what you wanted it to do?
I wouldn't even consider redoing the video, even from a hypothetical standpoint, because once I get real data and I have real data to look at, that's how I make my decision. So I wouldn't even hypothetically consider redoing this video.
Do you have anybody in your inner circle? I got a lot of people around me, including my wife, that always hold me accountable. When she see me going off the deep end on something, she like, hold on, Anton, let's think about this for a second. Do you have anybody close to you that you rely on as a part of your network? And they say, yo, Glendon, I don't know if that's a good idea.
I have counsel, if you would call that, but I don't typically run my business moves across or in front of my counsel. So, I've had a few friends who.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about the decisions that you make in your everyday life. I don't care about the business aspect of it. We both successful. We both cut from different cloths. Clearly, I'll give you that part, right? But as far as how we move in our everyday life, you don't have nobody that you glean from or you keep close to you, and it's like, you know what? Hold on, Glendon, man. Maybe that's wrong, or maybe that's right. You don't have nobody next to you that holds you accountable.
My everyday life is pretty damn boring. So I've got some people I talk to, but I don't typically run my YouTube decision makings across other people. So for YouTube and business.
No, not YouTube. I consider YouTube business. I'm talking about like just life outside of the camera.
Did this freeze? Oh, he's thinking.
Yeah, what do you base your morals and your characters and your character and your ethics off of? If you have nothing to compare it to, how do you determine whether or not you're right or wrong, or you're making a right or wrong decisions?
Once again, I'm a risk taker. I will take some risk and just deal with the consequences. But typically, from a morality standpoint, I don't really do a lot that's immoral. If anything, I live a pretty boring life at the moment.
I'm done, TLA. You know what I think.
Well, let's do this. And I want to thank you guys for giving me all of this time. If I had to pay for this time, this would have been thousands of dollars. So I really appreciate you guys coming on. Let me get your closing thoughts, Anton, and then I'll give the last word to Glendon.
My closing thoughts is that Glendon is absolutely the what would I say? The poster child of what you don't want to become when you become rich. when you get money, when you get resources, it does not make you a better person. And I think that for far too long, the good people, the very, very good people have stood back and remained silent when it comes to those that do things that are morally bankrupt and go about doing things and they think that money is the thing that validate them, or numbers or subscribers or visibility or whatever, and they can run any kind of experiment with no kind of accountability of how they affecting other people.
Yep.
I think that with more power comes more responsibility, and that for far too long, good people are being too quiet. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so vocal when it comes to making sure that you align with people of good character. When I live my life like an open book, I put that on a platform because I want people to see an example of what it is that you can do when you do things the right way. You ain't got to cut no corners. You ain't got to do nobody wrong. You ain't got to take advantage of nobody. You don't have to sleep with people that's underage, or in my personal opinion, not as it relates to the eyes of the law, right? But as it relates to just doing the right thing when nobody else is looking. And I think that Glendon is so confident, and he's been getting away with doing what he want to do for so long, and he's so brazen in how he moves that he feels like he's untouchable. But I'm just going to tell you, Glendon, one day, honestly, and this is just my personal opinion, one day, I don't know if it's going to be the last day you on this earth. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. One day, you're going to have to be accountable for the things that you did on this earth. You going to have to be accountable. You going to have to own every little girl that you slept with. It's going to come back to you.
Yikes.
And I just pray. I pray, honestly. I fell on my knees. I told my followers this morning, I said, I prayed for you. I genuinely petitioned God on your behalf, and I said, show this man himself. Help him to understand how he can do things differently. And in some way, shape, or form, bless him to use his platform to actually pour into this world instead of leaving it worse as a result of him being here. Man, you got to do better. You got to do better. We have a platform, and that comes with more responsibility. People look up to you. They love you. They support you. They rock with you. And I truly believe that you can do the right thing. But as of right now, if you continue on the path that you're doing, it's just leading to more destruction of more people. And you're going to have to account for that one day. That's it. That's all I got, bro.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anton. Really appreciate it. And
hey, keep doing your thing, Lead. I'm out. I'm rocking out, bro.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you also as well, Glendon. What you have any kind of closing remarks?
Well, to echo on that, I'm accountable to my students. I'm accountable to the people in my life. So there is a lot of accountability. And looking at my track record, 12 years, one video doesn't define a person. And that's what I think a lot of people are trying to do. So I appreciate the invitation. I appreciate the conversation. Like, I don't hate Anton or anything. I'm not going to make any more videos. What I'm going to do is just continue to do the work I was doing before this all went off. That's what I'm going to do. Because I love helping people. And I'm going to make The Lost Kings the best male content channel I can make it. I am doubling down. And, I don't reach out or tag a lot of people anymore because I didn't really like that strategy. It didn't feel good to me. So that's pretty much it. That's what I'm going to do. So I appreciate you having me on the show. It was good talking to you. And,
no problem. I want to thank you again for giving us your time and coming on and being fairly open and giving us kind of how you view things.
I'm going to wrap it up there. I don't know if he lead attorney has a speech after, but I'm not going to be checking for this nigga's videos off the strength that he was full of shit. He lied too much. You can't lie to your audience so much and expect me to watch your videos and take anything from it or believe anything. You lied. It's like people have to understand the fundamental importance of the story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And the reason why they teach it forever, and they're not going to let go of that story because it shapes the way people think. It's like you can't get exposed for publicly lying so often and then get people to buy into your shit to believe you after that. It's not going to work out that way. And you're a predator in denial. And you lied about whether the stories were real or not and then act like it was just a social experiment and all this bullshit. It's like, nah, we ain't going for that. We ain't going for that. I definitely want to pull up that video again because we didn't get through that. There was still more there. Hold up. Let me see this.
What's going on, gentlemen? Tonight is a moment for self-reflection.
We were like 5 minutes
And I
into
pulled
this.
out my dick, and she was like,
Hold on.
R.Kelly was a good-looking man. R.Kelly had fame. R.Kelly was rich, and he was reckless. See, he has that appetite. And I'm going to try to explain this appetite to you guys who don't have this appetite. Because the normal man doesn't have this appetite. But there is something special about fucking a young girl who's doesn't have a lot of miles on her. She doesn't have a lot of experience. I remember this chick, she was 22, and she did not have a lot of sexual experience when we started messing around. And I pulled out my dick, and she was like, "You think that's going to fit?" So I knew that this girl had not had a lot of sexual experience. And there is something special about fucking a chick who doesn't have a lot of sexual experience. Because everything you do to her is fun. It's all brand new. And if you've got that type of appetite, it can be insatiable.
Yo, the way he says shit is so gross. That appetite, it's insatiable. Like, I get it. Yeah, girls inexperienced, blah, blah, blah. As long as they're over a certain age. Women, 20 plus, 19 plus if you want to play those type of games. But you're going way too low with these 17, 16-year-old high school kids. They're kids. And you said kids so much times in your breakdown. The problem with this guy is he's trying to sell us that this is all an act.
Like, R.Kelly could have had the baddest adult chicks he wanted.
But
chicks. R.Kelly had that appetite.
In the last video, every time he's talking to Anton and the lead attorney, he keeps saying girls, 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 girls. High school, kids, girls. Someone pointed out in the chat that he never once said women when he was speaking about his escapades with these young girls, that he was soliciting attention with the ads. He was soliciting their attention with these ads. They were all young girls. He kept using the word girl, high school, kid, blah, 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 teenager. And then he wants us to believe that this was just an act. We seen you speak for real in the interview, how you normally address these girls as girls, kids. You never said women. So we can't buy this as an act and this was all made up and blah, blah, blah. When you said it was real at one point in the interview, then you said it was cap, then you said it was embellished with some real, some fakes. It's like too much changing story.
Appetite could be the downfall of many, many men. Because, I'm not judging because I'm in a part of the kinky community.
Kinky, that's what we call it.
But R. Kelly allowed his appetite to literally wreck his life. Because once you get into orchestrating a trafficking syndicate, what does this mean? R. Kelly was having other people find and vet girls for him. And that's when it got out of control. This is the reason that I never got caught, because I never brought anyone.
What? The reason why I didn't get caught.
Else into my circus, so to speak. When I was doing it, was just me and the girls.
I don't know what type of social experiment this is, but this is bad. I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't have much more to say about this. This is just awful. I think he's trying to say, can I be canceled off one offense? But this is deeper than just one. Like, there's nuance in this situation. This is like, you're not a trustworthy character. We can't take anything from you, sir. That is what it is. I know he has a lot of subscribers. He's somebody that's a millionaire before I even figured out who he is. So he'll be all right, I guess. But he might have some heavy litigation following this. Some girls might be popping up out of nowhere being like, yep, we know who you were. We know who you are now. We know how to find you. And, it might go left. Who knows? Who knows? But we wrapping it up here. Make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. We have a lot more on the way. what am I gonna leave y'all with? I'm gonna leave y'all with this, and we out.
Shout out to LTTV.